We have an amazing speaker today. She's very talented, and one thing that I look for in my own life is just not my will, but thine be done. And that's exactly what that song's about. Jesus is my drill sergeant, meaning I am not the doer either. I'm not the doer. None of this is done by the separate ego trying to claim itself. I'm not the doer. Yet, people like that, I'm attracted to them. I'm attracted to people that say, I work for him. I work for him. I work for that. That's what I work for. And it often took a transformation. It took like a moment where like things went from normal life to, whoa, now I'm living that life. And I think it's capable, everybody's capable of it. There's no limits. It doesn't matter how, stuck somebody is in the altered reality, that your light can spark and ignite their freedom flame. And when we're all getting directed like that, look at the co-creation that how does heaven come to earth? It doesn't come by observation. It's coming from within us. We are that. So thank you, Kelly, for stepping up today and following your divine inspiration to learn all this stuff and share it and offer your, how do we trust that gut anyway? How do we learn to trust our gut instinct?
We tap into our gut healing wisdom. Thank you. I just still have a permanent smile from your song. It was so awesome. My father passed last year, and he always said he takes his orders from the great dispatcher in the sky, because he years ago, when he was younger than me, he was, I'm kind of old, anyway, he was a cab driver, and then he was also a truck driver, and so he always said, the great dispatcher. So, it just resonated with me because it's drill sergeant, and I was just telling you guys, I take my orders from him. So it's beautiful. Thank you. Touch me. So, freedom-loving patriots. Like, I just want to say it is such a blessing to be surrounded by freedom-loving patriots. After what we've all experienced in the last couple of years, the suffering, the heartache, the division with family members, seeing loved ones get seriously injured and hurt, and for some people even cross over to the other side, hasn't been easy. But the energy in this room is so good, and it just makes me feel so good in my heart and gives me so much hope for humanity. So I'm just so grateful to be here, and thank you so much for having me, Michael and Jewel. All right, so who wants medical freedom? Raise your hand if you want medical freedom. Health freedom. Okay. If you have exited the medical matrix, raise your hand. Okay. If you want to exit the medical matrix, raise your hand. If you aren't sure, raise your hand. And that's okay, or you don't have to. So I officially exited the medical matrix. Is this wood? I don't know if it's real wood, but okay. And you know what? I'm open to going back in if I have to. Whatever God's plan is for me, I accept it. But I have to say that the freedom that I've experienced and that my family has experienced when we exited the medical matrix and just trusted in God's plan and the healing power of God and for me personally and for my family, well, not my son, but my husband, the healing power of Yeshua, our Lord and Creator, it's there for everyone. It's there for all of us to tap into. And so I don't want to go too far into the story. I've already talked about it with some of you, but we had a miracle healing in our family. And because of that, my husband is alive, and he can actually walk and hike and climb Mount Shasta. And so it's a beautiful thing. And that's why I love to share my story with others. And I do have a ministry. It's like a side ministry because I'm busy with lots of things. But what I teach and coach in my ministry is gut healing wisdom. That's what I call it. And I'm going to go, into what that means. But my own personal journey with it is I had so many hormonal issues. For a whole year, I didn't even menstruate, and I was completely off balance. I actually also ended up in a mental institution when I was in my 20s, completely lost. My moral compass was spinning out of control. My health compass was spinning out of control, and I was a wreck. I was doing all the wrong things. I was consuming all the wrong things. I was thinking and feeling all the wrong things. And it took years. It took years to find my balance, to find my connection with God, and to be steady in that, and to find out how to be as healthy as I could possibly be. So everyone here, you all have an optimal health blueprint, right? You're created in God's image. So there's a formula, right? It's like 1 + 2 = 3. So as long as you plug in 1 and you plug in 2, you can get to 3. But the problem is we usually are so distracted by society that we can't even plug the numbers in, because we have stress and we have this and we have pressure and we have Netflix and we have, whatever it is that we have, and that's okay. That's just where we are in our times right now. And the thing that brings us back is intention. So, and nutrition. So the Creator gave us a rainbow spectrum of nutrients and foods that are here to help us heal and keep us free from disease. Do you all believe that? Yeah, and that's because the Creator operates within the divine matrix. The foundation of all this man-made matrix that we find ourselves stressing in, the foundation is God's divine matrix. And everything on earth was created beautifully and in harmony so that we could be nourished and that we could thrive. But again, we get so distracted with that shiny new thing in the man-made matrix and that food. And not that we can't enjoy good foods, and it doesn't all have to be perfect. We're not here to be food Nazis and everything has to be. I know people like that, and they're miserable. They're spiritually deficient because they're worried so much about food that they can't even accept God's will and can't even hear God's voice. So I'm not talking about that. And then of course there's people with serious diseases that I work with, that they have to be really strict. They cannot have that MSG corn, or they will have a serious reaction and go back into disease. So every single body is unique. Every single person is different. And how do you know what's right for you, right? How do you know right now, how do you know what nutrients you're deficient in? How do you know what you need right now to thrive, to reach optimal health? How can you know that? Can you go to a doctor and get tests and know that? No. You can get biofeedback. You can get all kinds of stuff. And then guess what? The next day it's different. Or the next month, you can get hair analysis. You can get your minerals tested. And there's certain things that obviously it's really good. Like maybe you suspect you have too much copper because you grew up in a house with copper pipes, right? And it's poisoning you. So yeah, you want to get a test. So obviously there's good things about that. But what I call gut healing wisdom is tapping into your relationship with God, learning how to calm your gut, learning how to activate your gut instinct, and actually then listen to what is calling you. Maybe that avocado, you're just staring at that avocado. Have you ever caught yourself just staring at a beautiful head of kale? I don't know, is it just me? But it's just whatever, some tomato. Wow, that tomato's just calling to me, and you're like, oh, it's $5, but I'm just gonna buy it anyway. Yeah. okay, I'm gonna save the seeds. I'm gonna grow all these tomatoes. But it's just that there's probably something in there that your body, it's really resonating with. Well, what about back in the day? Who ate fast food back in the day? Okay. What about driving by and you smell those French fries? And you're like, ooh, that's calling to me. That's resonating with me. Ooh, so how do you tell the difference, right? Well, that's, the Creator luckily gave us this faculty called logic and reasoning, so it's not all in the gut. We have to have a clear mind, but to have a clear mind, guess what? What do you need? You need a clear, but you can't have a bunch of heavy metals fogging up your brain, and you can't have a bunch of gluten and a bunch of processed food clogging up your gut, because everything you do to your gut affects your brain. The gut is the second brain. So when you focus on healing the gut, you actually can think more clearly, and you can clean up your pineal gland, and you can it's easier for your spiritual antenna to receive divine guidance, which is a nice bonus. The other bonus of healing and sealing your gut, I say sealing because the gut is, the gut lining is only 1 cell thick. Most people in our country, their gut lining is damaged. And I'm sure most of you have heard the gut disease connection, right? So almost every single disease, if you test that person's gut, they have an imbalance. And poor gut health connects to almost every single disease there is. Of course, you could say that about other things, not just gut health, but that's just the truth. And almost every single psychological diagnosis, so whether it's ADHD, schizophrenia, every single one of those psychological disorders, 100% of the time, when they test the person's gut, depression, anxiety, there's poor gut health. Does the poor gut health cause the psychological dysfunction? Does the psychological dysfunction cause the poor gut health? Both. Both are true. We know that. That's been proven. So food is important, right? But if you're stressing about what you're eating all the time, then what are you doing to your gut? Every time you stress out, you allow yourself to be stressed, and you don't just trust that God has your back, which is, I mean, it's really hard. This is what I struggle with, right? This is why I'm saying this. It's like, I'm sure I'm not the only one, but it's human nature. We get stressed, and then it's like, okay, I'm going to let it go, and I'm going to trust that I will get the right answers. I will make the right moves. If I'm allowing God to guide me, I'm going to be okay. And I'm going to do my best to actually not fall into temptation as much as possible and actually eat nourishing foods that are going to keep healing my gut and keep healing my body so I can be free of disease, so I can have mental clarity, so I can have more discernment, better judgment. And so that's many, many benefits of healing the gut. And as far as like, how do you heal the gut? I mean, it's different for everybody, but the one thing that is the same for every single one of us is that we know the first step is learning how to calm the nervous system, giving love to your gut, giving love to yourself, and of course, looking for as many nutrient-dense foods that we talked about, these beautiful foods, and putting them in your body, but when the time is right, right? Like, how do you know how much to eat? Well, if you're actually tuning in to your potentially highest, healthiest self, made in God's image, what that could look like, that's going to inform you in your daily choices. And so if you're doing that, guess what? You're going to be filling yourself with sweetness and love. And what's beautiful about that is then you don't feel like you need as many sweets from the outside to make up for that lack. And we know sugar feeds the bad gut microbes, right? There's some sugars that feed good microbes too. But a lot of people have an imbalance and this is crazy, 80% of the country has an imbalance of 80% bad bacteria and 20% good. But when you have a healthy gut, you have 80% good and 20% bad. The bad are important because the bad microbes, right? You've got, does anybody here know how many microbial cells you have in your body that aren't human DNA, that you're host to? Does anyone know the answer to that? Anyone want to take a shot, a guess? Between 100 and 300 trillion. So if you go to the Amazon where people are still eating with their hands, you're going to find the 300 trillions. And you're going to find diversity. So the average is about 30,000 different species, but you're going to have way more, maybe 50,000. We have what's called missing microbes because, like I said, everything's in nature, and then the man-made matrix decided to add additives to our food, genetically modify the food, add, chemicals, toxins, and so make it more addicting. So a lot of this food we get, we're having to pay a tax on the liver, on the organs, on our future health, on our current health, right? And so, and of course, some people it's hard because it's cheap, but there's a reason that it's cheap. And you can't use that as an excuse. No matter how broke you are, there's always a way. I know from experience, there's always a way if you set your intention and you set your will that you could put high-quality, nourishing foods in your body, even if you're having a really hard time financially. You could figure it out. You could do it. Is it going to take work? Is it going to be hard? Yeah. But the rewards are going to be so worth it, and especially when the healing starts. So, so with that, I guess I'll just offer, there's a meditation that I love to do, and it's just really, really powerful for me because it has to do with my husband's healing and my own healing, and I would love for all of us to try it out. I'm just going to sit down. So this is a meditation that you could do in the morning before you get out of bed. You can sit on your bed or in a chair, and you can put your feet flat on the floor. And now you're just going to sit quietly and lovingly. I like to turn my hands up. And then picture a golden healing light. It's coming from above. And you might see it like water. Some see it like light. Some see it like beams. But however you see it, it's a golden healing light, and it's coming. For me, I thank Yeshua, my Lord Yeshua, Jesus Christ, for all the healing and all the blessings that I've been given. So beautiful, and I'm just so grateful. This golden healing light is available to every human. We are born to heal. You are born to heal. Healing is your birthright. Health is your birthright. Don't let anyone take that away ever. Don't let anyone frighten you, because you know healing comes from within and comes from God. Picture every cell absorbing the golden healing light, and every cell in your body is transforming. You're stimulating the mitochondria in your cell. You're activating it. Your cells can communicate together. They can work together. Now, focus on your gut, your second brain. There's more nerve endings in your gut than in your brain. That's your first line of information, your intuition. Put your hands on your gut, rub your tummy, give some love to those microbiome, to your microbiome, to those microorganisms. You're hosting them, and they're there to love you and to take care of you. They're working together. They're sending messages back and forth to each other through DNA, through chemical messaging, signaling mechanisms, to your immune system, which is 80% of your immunity is in your gut, keeping you healthy, keeping you free of disease, keeping you free of viruses. They're taking care of the viruses in a beautiful way. And now you can send the golden healing light to your loved ones. If there's anyone who comes to your mind who could really use some of that beautiful healing energy that you have in your heart and your gut and your soul that we are all having in this room together, you can send some to them. And I guarantee they are feeling it right now. And you can visualize them being healed, nourished, and that the spark of God is in their eyes. Amen.